We are live. Waiting on it. आ गया आ गया हेलो hello
live. So we are live in like 3, 2, 1, check.
Okay, cool. So hello everyone, today we'll be talking about future of technology, and I'm your host. I'm Gaurav Singh, and if it's too much of a name, you can just call me Panda. And today we'll be talking about how we are changing as we are living. So today we're changing, like how we are changing the technology, how we're changing like everything we come in touch with. So like there's this famous quote that I read in a TED talk. Human beings are work in progress that mistakenly think they are finished. The person you are right now is as transient, as fleeting, and as temporary as all the people you have ever been. The one constant in our lives is change. So like if you look at any animal, if you look at a lion, he like it births, it does its things and dies. Like there's not much of a development going on. They are developed species, but we as a humans, we are developing on the go. Like we are changing as we are living. Like our parents lived a different world and we are living a different world, and our kids will live an entirely different world. And this pace of change is increasing exponentially. Like we have seen more changes in last 5 years than we did in like previous decade, you know. So that's all we'll be talking about. Before starting this, I would like if Inderpreet and Mandeep can just introduce themselves, a little bit about themselves and what they do.
Hello, Gaurav.
Yo.
Yo, man.
That was a really good introduction. What's the word for not having something to speak? I'm speechless.
Wow.
Yeah, how can I forget such a simple word? So I'm speechless. It was a really good introduction. I'm Inder Singh. I lead this small agency called Ryaz. I mostly deal in leadership stuff. I love technology. I love design, and I do a bunch of stuff with technology and design. And most of my days spent looking at code, or either writing code, or managing developers who write code. That's about me.
Cool. Yeah, Mandeep, what about you?
I'm working with Ryaz, and I mostly work on. These days I'm working on backend and front end too. So mix of both.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's
Yeah, so it like the technology, like we can't just say like technology means something related to the IT world, like everything we do has a change in every trade of a people, like there was a world where there was no wheel, then someone invented a wheel, and it increased a endless number of possibilities that we now have. We use wheels from our washing machines to the rocket that goes to the moon. So it all became possible when we got the wheel. And so like if you have to think of the next big thing, which is currently not developed completely, but it's under development, like what would be the new wheel in today's world that will increase endless number of possibilities in the future? So Inderpreet or Mandeep, anyone can take this.
I think we both will agree to it. The same thing we
Yeah.
were talking about. Do you want to say it together?
I guess, do you want me to guess it?
Yeah, go ahead, guess it. Make a guess.
Is it artificial intelligence?
Yes, it is. Everybody knows that. Yes, AI is going to change the world in the ways we can't even comprehend. Like, could you have comprehended like 10 years ago? We have Alexa sitting here. Not even 10 years ago, say 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When was Google Home launched?
I-
Like when you started college. So that's like 7-8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So when you started college, could you have comprehended a device which you can talk to in a very natural human language and it responds with such a good accuracy?
Yeah.
No, right? So similarly, I think AI is going to change.
Mhm.
It change the way the world works, just like wheel did. It's
So-
going to change economics. It's going to change politics. It's going to change a lot.
defense, healthcare.
And do you think we are so near to it that we will experience it in our lifetime, that change?
I think it has already happened. Can't you see? I mean, like earlier example we used to give us, oh, AI is already there, you can Google search it, and but that was like so much behind the scenes. But today everything every single company is using AI or ML to improve their products. Facebook, LinkedIn, like any even the startups, because of availability of such great tools, even the startups, new companies they might not have the funding which Google or Amazon or these kind of big companies have. They still are thinking and are utilizing artificial intelligence in their products. So it's already here. I mean, it's happening in our lifetime. It's not like something will happen.
Yeah.
It's just like internet, right? So when
Yeah.
internet didn't happen, internet is happening.
Yeah.
And there was a time when it started happening. So that we are there. Like it has started happening. And because AI improves itself, at least I'm painting with a very broad brush here, but AI improves itself, so it will improve really, really drastically. Compared to like other revolutions like industrial revolution, or how fast was wheel improved, it was very small.
Yeah.
I also want to add another thing to it, like other than AI. There's one other technology which is just blowing up my mind.
Neural networks.
Neural networks is in AI.
Okay.
Blockchain. Have you heard about, like, how much are you, is there anyone here
Well,
informed about blockchain?
no, not much. So like by blockchain, all I can think about is so a decentralized network. So that's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah, it's basically a double ledger. Like I also don't know much. I work with blockchain. I have worked with a couple of blockchain companies, but it's basic. If I have to say it in the simplest term, it's democratization of it's a democratization of internet. And because internet is so much it's democratization of internet, and internet is so much involved in our society that it would actually mean democratization, like a further step in democratization of the society. So I will give you an example. Recently I'm working with this company called DEOS. That needs to be cut. That needs to be censored.
Beep.
So you might have heard a beep where I said the name of the company. So I'm working with this company, Beep, and what it does is it's creating an operating system where you can install solar panels on your roof, and you can sell the energy or buy the energy. Like you have a solar panel on the roof, or maybe you have a biomass energy creator, or maybe you have a small dam, I don't know. Like you have some way to create energy, like create electrical energy, and then you have a battery that can store it. So what this blockchain based operating system allows you to do is that peer to peer, like one house to another house, you can trade energy. You can sell and buy energy. It becomes like marketplace of energy. So you don't have to depend upon the central grid that government has produced, like to for dealing, like, so the dealing of energy is no longer between this central grid versus every consumer. These consumers will also start trading energy among themselves, and that's just crazy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's great.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, great.
So like, do you think energy is like energy can be another currency? Like we can buy things with energy?
No. You can buy energy with
Energy.
money.
Oh.
So you will say, okay, I want this much energy to run my house, and maybe you have some surplus energy, right? So maybe you have a factory which requires a lot of energy, and so there is one guy who has a factory, who who creates a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And then on another section there is one guy like us who has a home, who has a big roof, and but doesn't require that much energy. So he can install solar panels on the whole roof area, and when that factory wants, I can sell that factory energy from my rooftop and earn money. Like I can, if I have enough solar area, like if I'm good enough at creating energy, that could be my full-time job. I would just create energy all day and sell it to factories who require more energy. Other thing, the second thing that
Yeah, continue.
the second thing that यार कीजिए.
So the first thing was, we can just create energy, and that can be
Yeah,
a full-time
the second thing is like because of the economics, the price of energy will change,
job.
right? So it will be in the morning it will be less, in the deep night like 12, 1, 2 it will be very cheap energy. So what you can do is, even if you're not creating energy at the peak times, you can start buying energy from people, and then at the low times when energy is needed, you can sell it at a profit. So even when you're not creating energy, you can buy and sell it. So you can deal in that trading of energy basically.
It's like Bitcoin.
Yeah, because based on
Bit-
blockchain.
Yeah.
And you know where it's happening? It's happening in Uttar Pradesh.
In India.
Yes, Uttar Pradesh is like 140 million people with the weather which is mostly sunny for 12 months. Like it's mostly sunny rather than like other than like 15-20 days of rain and stuff. So it's a warm place, and they get a lot of solar energy, and UP government is piloting a project. So Adityanath Yogi.
That's a
That's nice.
silver lining.
So yeah, AI and blockchain.
Like, okay. Like, is Tesla Powerwall something closely?
Yeah. Yeah, Tesla Powerwall is what they're using. It's already running in bunch of countries, and Tesla Powerwall is one of the. I think they use mostly. I have seen people using Tesla Powerwall to store energy and then sell it back. It's like good high density battery, I guess.
Nice.
As I have heard about the blockchain is like it's write only database. In simple words.
Yeah, it's a write-only database, write-only decentralized database.
So like we are writing stuff, but nobody can read it. That's okay. Well, it only complicates it more, I guess.
Yeah. It's like once you change the data, then you cannot edit it
So
or
it's
temper.
yeah, it's immutable
Yeah.
data store.
And so like the next part of all this development we come across is privacy concerns. Okay, so we are getting all this new technology, and then there is some what we can say, some things where people think that they are being monitored, they are being spied upon. So what they do is they take a step back and they stay away from that kind of technology. So like, are they missing something out in the world? Like if we if we encourage these newer technologies, are we selling ourselves out for privacy concerns? Like, what do you think about that?
With artificial intelligence, I think there will be a lot of privacy concerns.
Like, can we still enjoy the perks of this newer artificial intelligence without violating our privacy? Like, is there even a way to get that, or that's just how it will be?
I think it depends upon the how the companies are implementing the blockchain.
Yeah. So like if we link up AI with blockchain, it will be more safer to use. Is that what's happening here?
Don't think so.
ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਆਪਾਂ
Food
ਵੜ
for
ਦਾਂਗੇ ਯਾਰ ਜੋ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ
ਹਾਂ।
ਬੋਲ ਦੇ ਚਾਂਗ ਦੇ ਫੱਟੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਦਾਂਗੇ
Yeah.
ਯਾ
Yeah.
ਕਹੇ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਉੱਚੀ ਜੇ ਕਹਿ
Okay. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it works like that.
Yeah.
It's just privacy concerns. I mean, blockchain is a really good way to combat some of the privacy concerns. Basically, you can build a system where you don't require a central kind of authority. Not authority. I mean, central database, a central server. So you can so the resources, even the cost of, for example, we can run the social network which is not run by a single corporation. Currently we live under our social life, which is basically Facebook and its companies. Our whole social life which has gone digital, and that digital social life has a dictator, and it's run by a corporation. So we can theoretically have an organization which does not have that. We can have an open source of blockchain based consensus based social network, which does not require any big central corporation. And when you don't require it, then you can have things like more control over your privacy, and not having to like the business model is not there. Like the reason Facebook is dealing with your privacy is because data is profitable.
Yeah.
So if it's not about profit anymore, if you can write an open source social network which is not about profit, then it just
I think there are already a few of them already there. Like Mastodon, I've heard of it. It's like
yeah, but while I was saying this, I was still thinking even open source softwares, they still are like benevolent dictators, right? It's not like
developer specific.
Yeah, so we're still a long way from there. So it's like, okay, so Linus Torvalds created Linux, and then everyone has to, he's ruling that the Linux Foundation or the Linux stuff, right? So not now, currently I know he has stepped back and all. So if anyone quotes me on that he doesn't know that Linus Torvalds has stepped back, I do know it. It's just
but it's still under just one person. Like
I'm
now,
not sure.
now that he stepped back, so there's an organization instead of one person.
Yeah, there is a foundation. There was always a foundation. Their foundation was being run by a single company. Then there will be another company. But there is authority is centralized, not authority. Like power is centralized. You can have a decentralized blockchain and still a centralized authority. I was reading about it just yesterday. I need to pull it up.
But it's still like there is some freedom to in the open source softwares that you can just fork it and make your own thing. I have heard Twitter is also there is some Twitter alternative, like peer-to-peer Twitter already in progress.
Comments so that comments the tablet.
We have got some comments here.
Okay, so like from the comment section we have got this question like, why is blockchain needed there? I'm not sure where. I guess it's been some time. So why is blockchain needed in?
Selling and buying of energy, I guess.
Yeah. So why is blockchain needed?
Huh?
So why is blockchain needed there?
Um, blockchain. So blockchain is not needed. Blockchain is the best possible. Like in my opinion, blockchain is the best tool whenever you want to have peer-to-peer transactions. Now I send you some money.
Mm-hmm.
It has to go through a central authority called bank.
Yeah.
But when I send you a Bitcoin, it's just between you and me. And the
Yeah.
Bitcoin network, well,
Yeah.
I mean blockchain, but that blockchain is basically anonymized, decentralized, that kind of thing.
I think peer-to-peer stuff was already there before the blockchain.
Yes, there was. Blockchain is not the first peer-to-peer thing. Like, for example, BitTorrent.
Torrent.
That's peer-to-peer, and even before blockchain, there was this. Blockchain came from this special, like blockchain. The idea of blockchain was derived from another paper, like another scientific paper about like that distributed ledger thing. I don't remember its name, but it was derived from that, and from that came the blockchain. From blockchain, it was the idea of Bitcoin came up. So
Got it.
distributed technologies have always been there. It's just that blockchain has proven to be a really good solution to many of those problems.
So there was this news I heard. I'm not sure which country was it. So like they included AI in their law making process. Like they included artificial intelligence and all that decides if the law they're making is good or not. Something in reference to that.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure.
just I don't know
What?
which country is doing that.
No, so yeah, like what I wanted to ask was, do you think like now that democracies are failing, like we see now and then in most of the countries, like do you think like this has an application there which will solve our current crisis?
What do you think, Mandy?
Like if there was not a human, do you think we will have less corruption, less politics like that?
But I think politics will still be there. They will modify the AI as per their
Yeah.
advantage.
Yeah, AI is not unbiased. AI is still very much biased based on people who are building it. So,
So if an AI builds an AI, that will be fair.
but yeah, it would have the same biases that the AI. So like you give birth to a child, it would have same biases that you do, right? Most probably, at least until he or she is a teenager. So it's still biased. It's still like it still has to learn, and it learns from us. It learns from data we provide it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's still. I don't think it. I think its human element won't go in that high level things. Like AI can be useful for smaller tasks, but I don't think ever human element should or would go away from very high level things like decision making and making laws, judges, and all that. AI should aid it.
Yeah.
And to make sure it's it can like I love that AI can take a huge role in doctors, like doctors detecting and solving illnesses. That's
Mhm.
where AI can really help. AI can take a huge role in software development and design, but in things like politics and all that, AI should be minimized. I think it just doesn't make sense.
But as per I have heard, in China they have like implemented a facial recognition system,
Yeah.
and like they are watching every single person of the country,
Mm-hmm.
and in real time it displays their kind of score of their score, and based on their score, um, if the score is too low, they won't be allowed to like travel in the public um, uh, bus or train, or have a hotel room, or
Mhm.
their kids won't be able to go to a good school. So that's already worrisome.
Da, da, da. Black Mirror. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, those are the things where AI is help. So from a China perspective, that's a helpful thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Chinese government says, oh, AI is helping us a lot.
Yeah.
So it depends upon who is using AI, right?
Yeah.
And what they're training it to be. So like we know that China is, at least that's what I've read, that China is persecuting Muslims, which
Yeah.
seems like a trend in the world. It's a bad time to be a Muslim today. And so they're persecuting Muslims,
Mhm.
and if that AI is being developed by that kind of sentiment, right? If AI is being taught that Muslims are bad and stuff like that, so that could lead, like it would, I think AI would have the same issues, right? That humans have, like the same biases and stuff, depending on who built it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Mhm. Okay.
I think I read it somewhere. AI is as good as the data you provide, and currently the data providing is humans. Humans are providing data, so yeah. Like we saw the effect of AI on elections with Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like bias can be there. Like ever, like Google is also filtering results, like as per the political parties. They do not show some of the parties' results on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all their hands.
Then what is like, what's Elon Musk afraid of? Do you know that? Like if AI is that, like what is Elon Musk afraid of? What is his basically fear statement?
I guess it's exactly that if AI rules us,
Huh.
we are giving ourselves to the people who created the AI forever, to
Yeah.
their bias,
Yeah.
and because we can't.
I think when it comes to biases we are talking about, it's just we're talking about current state of AI. What Elon Musk is afraid of is not Elon Musk, I mean bunch of people.
Yeah.
With Elon Musk are afraid of
Explicitly.
is about the next state of AI,
How would that be different?
like a sentient state of AI. Say a state of AI where humans are not part of the AI. Like a sentient means something with consciousness kind of thing.
Is that scientifically possible?
We don't know.
Yet.
We don't understand our consciousness yet, so I'm not sure. But Neuralink is one such project which is aimed to solve these kind of problems, especially AI becoming too powerful, and so they are trying to integrate AI and computer chips into our brains to make us to AI as part of us.
And like this was like artificial intelligence, like we are creating intelligence to serve us better. And then there was this discussion of preserving intelligence, preserving intelligence of us in something that lives immortal, that is something that is immortal. and then we are using that intelligence to help us in the future.
Uploading consciousness.
Uploading consciousness
Oh my God,
to
that's interesting.
robots and
I'm getting in Vikas mode. Yeah, that's a nice topic.
so like there's this website, I cannot find it right now, so they have created this timeline. So like they have started like by 2020 we will have consciousness uploaded, and by 23 we will have something, by 2020 we will have a bot which mimics human movements,
Yeah.
and then by 2022 we will be uploading consciousness to a machine. So we are
Within just 2 years?
it's not a good website, so not good milestones, but that's the timeline they have. So they are uploading consciousness to a machine, and then by next milestone is to have a holographic display in that machine, and then consciousness the third milestone is that uploading consciousness to a robot which mimics human behavior, and the last milestone they have is a holographic display of the person with his own consciousness. So it's like we are holographic projections are walking everywhere, which are actually dead or immortal.
Yeah. With the filters. I want my height to be long. Use bigger height
So
filter.
there's no one living, and yet there's no one dead.
Why do you have holographic displays? Like if you can basically, if your consciousness is in a bot, why does it need a holographic display? It can just talk to other people. Like we can just broadcast or project those images in the brain of that consciousness. It doesn't even have to go anywhere. Like you can just keep the computer here and just broadcast images of other people into that consciousness. Maybe that's what we already are and we don't realize it.
Maybe they want us to see the holograms. Because
No, I mean, why? Yeah. So, for example, you're a consciousness.
So
right.
So like it's like we are still living, but there are few people who are just a consciousness.
So holograph is basically a transition state where you move from
us, like the current us,
using these eyes
to
just using sensors.
Yes.
Can you have more than 5 senses if you are not a human?
Why not?
mod pack.
You can have a heat sensor.
We
already have a
heat
heat
sensor.
sensor.
Like, can there be a sixth sense? Sixth sense?
Like seeing the future?
Seeing the future.
That's voodoo.
Intuition. That's what
That's
we're doing right now.
homeopathy. Sorry.
That's what.
I mean, yeah, that's seeing the future.
Like,
we can predict the future to such a
forecast.
nice extent that we make a really good educated guess. But seeing the future will not be possible until you can travel something to the future.
So that goes into that multiverses and
Yeah, so that goes.
infinite number of universes. And
So that goes into wormholes where you can travel from current time to the next time.
it's too deep to hit.
Yeah, I know nothing about that. Yeah, nothing over here.
Cool. And let me see if we have any questions. Does blockchain works with currency other than cryptocurrency? I don't understand this question actually.
Does blockchain work with a currency other than cryptocurrency? Like decryptocurrency? Blockchain does work then. Blockchain does work outside currencies. Most of the people say that like have one association with blockchain and that's cryptocurrencies, but it's just way more than that. It's a lot more than that. So that I can say, but yeah, I also don't understand that question.
Okay. Cool. So if you have to imagine like taking the current scenario of our world, ice caps are melting, democracies are failing, what would be the next? What can we expect in like next 5 years?
In next 5 to 10 years, we hopefully have some uh, colony in Mars. What do you think?
Interplanetary visa.
We have visited Mars. Elon Musk is there,
And it's Tesla
and Tesla is running on Mars.
in this space.
So like more spreading to more planets in just 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's what his timeline is, Nate.
Yeah.
What is his timeline? Like,
We
what's
can
that rocket called? BFR? Big Falcon rocket?
Yeah, Falcons.
It's
That Starship. Big F rocket. Rocket.
I'm not sure if it's Falcon.
One of the rockets is Falcon.
Yeah. There's like 3 Falcons combined together, that kind
Mhm.
of thing. So it's called Starship, right? Yeah. That's
BFR. Big Falcon rocket, yeah.
also known as Big
Oh,
Rocket.
big
Beep.
rocket.
Big Beep rocket.
So
Yeah, so
we,
I
we
think-
have more than one planets where we are living.
Yeah, that seems like to happen, but I don't like that. Do you like that?
What?
Going to another planet, like as a resort to climate change?
We have relatives at Mars. Just going to visit them.
Like destroyed one planet, let's destroy another.
Not for the sake of like have to live, so we travel to that. We can just go for adventure.
So it's like visiting Mount Everest. You just go there and come back. You don't live there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better, I guess.
Yeah,
So it's like a tourist spot.
Yeah.
you know, just a Facebook post.
I think it's okay. It's good to be multi-planetary, but that's not the solution to climate change. Like we
Yep.
still need to save Earth, right? Earth is beautiful. Come on, we shouldn't destroy that just because now you can. Like that's also not proven. Like, staying in Mars is hard.
Yeah,
It's really bad. Terraforming Mars it will take generations, and it will still not be as. I don't think artificially terraforming Mars would still end up having the biodiversity that
Mhm.
we had like 500 years ago.
Okay.
Like forget about 500 that we have right now. Even though our biodiversity is decreasing at such a high pace, it's really hard to have that kind of diverse set of organisms. Maybe humans can end up surviving on Mars with their machines and fancy stuff, but it's just no longer beautiful.
As a software developer, we if we colonize Mars, we will have to support much more time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only problem I can see.
Yep.
Supporting multiple time zones. Okay,
Lot
what
more.
time zone are you are in? Okay, I'm in a Mars time zone.
And then there's daylight savings time. Mars
Yeah,
time time.
Because
Mars-
Mars doesn't have a year of 365 days.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fire.
So what year is it on Mars? Do they go by Indian year system? Not
Yes.
Indian, I mean.
Conventional.
Arthan? How would they call
Earthly.
it?
Earthners, commoners.
Commoners? Earthners?
Okay. So yeah, like in 5 to 10 years, if we just focus on Earth, yes, we guess.
If we focus in 5 to 10 years, AI becomes really mainstream. Like the way audio becomes mainstream, AI becomes mainstream. Like audio interfaces, like Alexa now. Self-driving cars become mainstream. We lose a lot more jobs to automation.
Yeah.
And universal basic income happens like if we are not very stupid.
Which we are.
universal basic income should happen, like something like that. So that's what I think. In next 5 to 10 years, AI, ML, blockchain starts picking up. Cryptocurrencies are real. We will have another recession by then. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Global recession? Country?
Yeah, like basically US recession that ends up being a global recession. So like US recession, so there is a curve, like it's called yield inverse curve, something like that. I'm not sure, someone can Google it. Yeah, it's like some curve, like yield inverse curve or something, which if that comes ever, like whenever that curve has happened in inverted yield curve, so whenever that has happened in the history of humanity, like history of human finance, whenever that has happened, there was a recession.
Like what is this curve?
So
like what does it refer?
yeah,
If you put it
I haven't
words.
read deeply about it. So there's some mathematical thing that happens in the stock market, which produces this curve. Basically, I think the yield is less than what we are charging for it. I don't know. So whenever that happens, the recession is due. So inverted yield curve represents a situation in which long-term debt instruments have lower yields than short-term debt instruments of the same credit quality. The yield curve is graphical representation of yields on similar bonds across a variety of maturities. So you know that jibber jabber.
Jibber jabber.
So basically, I can try to explain what I get from this. So inverted yield curve is a situation in which long-term debt instruments, that means like people are not spending, people are not investors are not too confident about longevity of the businesses, and so they are investing a lot in short term, and so they are thinking short term, and that
Short-term interest rates become higher than long-term rates.
and when that happens, recession is due. Like recession is about to happen. Whenever that has happened in the history, there was a recession. So we are sitting waiting like on recession. Have you seen The Big Short?
I have.
Have you seen The Big Short? No.
No.
Oh, you should see that movie. That explains a lot of the jibber jabber.
Got it. So like when recession happens, how does it affect someone? How does it affect like common people?
When recession happens, people lose jobs
Mm-hmm.
because people don't have money to spend. There is no like investors are not there. We will be directly affected by it.
Yeah.
Because all of our clients are from US, and if they don't have money to pay us.
So recession is like no
Okay.
one has money to pay.
No, recession is basically decreased, like negative GDP. So like the gross domestic product there, that is negative. Like we are at 3%, right? 4%,
Yeah.
5%, I guess.
Four-
4.5,
four-
4.5 in last quarter, right? So the average of the year, I guess, is predicted to be 5. America is growing at 2-3%, that range, because it's already developed. So
Yeah.
as you grow higher, we were at 10% few years ago.
So are we like? Is
we
it a good thing?
slowed down. So we slowed down. So it's not technically a recession, but it's a deep lack of growth, right? So when, but that's the Indian thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but when that happens in US, when US progress slows down and it goes into negative, that's called a recession, right? Can you Google that as well? What is recession? So in economics, a recession is a business cycle contraction when there is a general decline in the atomic activity. economic activity, atomic activity. Recessions generally occur when there is a widespread drop in spending. Such as financial crisis. What about GDP? Significant, normally visible in real GDP, real income. Yeah, so in UK, it is defined as negative economic growth for 2 consecutive quarters. So when your GDP is in negative for 2 quarters, that is recession. So if India was not a developing country, like it had a lot of momentum, right? It was, so it's like it was running fast.
Yeah.
And then now someone has already hit brakes, but it has not come to halt yet.
So it will halt.
Unless we,
Not yet.
unless we push the pedal, unless we put the foot on the gas. Unless we do something to stimulate acceleration, it would go down.
Yeah.
In next 5 to 10 years, I think China would be a huge power. So a
China,
huge
Japan.
global power, which would be really interesting to see, because that would be a non-capitalism country, a communist country, semi-communist country reaching a financial success.
Is Japan semi
No,
communist?
Japan is a
Democratic.
democratic. Yeah.
Yes, we almost covered our things, and it's almost time to wrap up. So if any of the listeners have any questions, they can just write it up in the chat, and that's it for today, I guess. And while we get some questions, we can just talk about like the programming
What-
field.
I would like to ask a question to Mandy.
Yeah, sure.
This is something, or maybe to Harry.
Good.
Like, what do you think about future of privacy and security? Where would it go, if you have to make a guess? And what would be the future of gaming?
Future of privacy. I think if we have a lot of products by the big companies that we can call the monopolies, like Facebook or Google, I think the privacy is gonna suffer.
Do you think government is going to intervene? Like, it looks like it's already trying to do that, regulate, divide Facebook into smaller companies, something like that.
I don't think they're doing that
Enough?
much. Yeah, like there's already stuff happening, as like we hear about, like privacy breaches with Facebook and or Google, and they don't even disclose.
Yeah.
So and I have heard government in, like, I think US shared the healthcare data with one of these companies, like maybe Amazon.
Wow.
So that's,
Yeah.
I don't can't believe the government too.
You can't trust the government to
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah, if they will be.
If the government is already spying on you,
Yeah.
they're already, but legally
Yeah, I think
violating your privacy.
Indian government is has participated in something like what did you talk about?
Like a global community.
Like watching everyone, like the way the China is doing.
Surveillance?
Yeah, mass surveillance.
Mass surveillance.
Yeah.
So India is participating in
Yeah,
that.
I think
I don't know that.
I have heard like they have invested in that part.
Okay. Well, if they're watching, the least we can do is be interesting.
Ta-da! Least we can do. Why would someone do this? That's cherry sign card for you. Looks like we don't have any questions, so it's just us.
He said, I mean,
Do you want to say something about gaming?
Raj
Well,
Guru Singh said, I mean,
Looks like he needs a
like
separate podcast just for gaming.
gaming. Yeah, yeah, I have heard about the deep minds, AI based they play. I watched their video, like they play the AlphaGo game against some professional players, and like it it gave them a very hard time, like beated the professional players.
Yeah, but that's like the real game. Like that's a board game, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about like PC games, like we see COD and all that. It's like we have been waiting so hard for Oculus
Mm-hmm.
and things like that to turn gaming into this virtual reality and mixed reality thing. It's happening, but it's still not at that place where it's like
Yeah.
mainstream.
Yeah.
Do you think in next 5 to 10 years the games we'll be playing would be basically in our like it's some version of mixed reality and augmented reality, like HoloLens?
Yeah, I think there is already stuff happening in that field.
Yeah, it's happening, but it's
Yeah.
not mainstream, right?
Yeah.
We're still using our Xbox.
Yeah.
So like we are literally in the game.
Yes, we're like we are in the game, or game is in our world. So like we are in the game is basically VR, where you put headsets and you have this sensors and you go into another world. That's VR, and the mixed reality is where or immersive reality is where the game comes to your place, like the game you play. What's that called? Where dun 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 dun.
Stack.
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 Stack, like
Yeah.
the stack game where you can play it on your laptop. See,
Yeah.
that was good. Dun 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 dun.
Stack.
So stack. So just like stack, there will be games. in
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go, like the games in real
Yeah,
world.
augmented
Like you're
reality.
playing FIFA on actual football field. Why would you do that?
Yeah. Just play football.
Yeah, but you can play with a cloud team.
Yeah. Or maybe good for introverts.
Yeah, and you can be any player you
But
want.
Mandy can't play. Yeah. he can join the game. Yeah.
Cool, guys. That's I guess what the gaming of the future is.
Future of the game.
Future of the game. Oh, I wrote it wrong.
I think
Gaming
that's
of
fine too.
future.
Gaming of future.
So like we
Tadiya.
are going out of topic. We have to.
ताड़ियाँ भी ताड़ियाँ.
आउटरो जी कर दो.
Tun tun tun. Keep up.
Outro.
बाय बाय तो कह दे सारे ने.
Okay. So okay, I guess that's it, guys. Like we have covered up almost everything and anything we could cover in this podcast. So see you to the next podcast.
Peace out.
And if you like it, don't forget to click on the bell icon for more videos like this.
Peace out.